shout even louder because I'm not going to have time to pick up a mic. Okay, I'll just get started. Good afternoon, I'm Graham Kelly from the BIM Academy in Newcastle, doing a research project on how BIM can be integrated into FM and this potential revolution that might produce. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this. Also going to talk about BIM competitions that we do with the BIM Academy and other guys that have integrated into this to talk about and to learn about the BIM process. So as I say, I want to talk about it being a process rather than a software at the very start. It's a really a great way of working that enables all stakeholders early access to the project, including FM and clients, and it's also a way to manage your information throughout that. In terms of BIM competition, one of the great ways, this is a great way of looking at this process through a really short period of time. So during this, it's say 48-hour period. There have been ones that are 8 hours. It's a fully collaborative process where you have to create essentially a virtual building. During this time, we look at creating a multitude of models using include architectural M&E, structural, landscape, and the specification itself as well. And these models are created in collaboration with everyone in the same room in a co-located location, rather than in silos. So it's a great way of looking at the errors and variations and improving them then straight away. In terms of deliverables, these are some of the deliverables we created on one of the projects in 48 hours. I think it's important to say that I don't think you'd be able to deliver all this without having an information-rich model, without working in collaboration. One of the things that I really picked up on when I did one of these competitions was how much you can actually play with the BIM process and fundamentally learn about the BIM process and what it is, but also it's a great time for innovation and pushing boundaries and seeing what you can do with the BIM process. And it's also sort of understanding that route. One of the big things that we've talked a little bit about today is this sort of utopian idea of BIM and FM, and the fact that you have a model, take everything out of the model, put it into a CAFM system, and away you go. I don't think we're anywhere near that currently, but I think it's something to strive for. I really do think it is, and I think one of the important things that we need to look at is the COBie. I think COBie is a way of managing our information. It's not asking for anything new, it's not asking for an additional information, it's asking for existing information that you would need to give on a project anyway, but just in a structured, well-formatted way. In order for us to gain COBie data, we have to collaborate. Some of the barriers to COBie we touched upon today. Collaboration is definitely a shift in culture. It's pretty new, not a lot of people know about it, so there is that education thing to go through. Simple technology, but actually the process of going through COBie is very difficult. And there's still quite a lot of manual tasks that we have to look at throughout it. So what we've done on the last competition, Singapore Live, that we've just done, is we've actually looked at driving the model through the client requirements through COBie. So put the room requirements in COBie, drive that into the model, and use that. Steve Lockley did, and a couple of guys at the last competition did, was they looked at creating a software that really put all this information within the model, and then you could pick it up in the model and put it into a certain room. So these aren't placed at the moment, but they will be placed throughout, and that helps you gain that understanding of the client requirements throughout that. Some other positives that we pick up from BIM and how that can work for FM is the amount of software that's out there already is incredible. We can look at carbon offsetting and comparing different materials with the carbon offset, structural integrity, how we look at how the wind interacts with the building, the clash detection system. So the software is incredible already out there. Another positive is the fact that the FM and clients can be involved and influence the project at inception. It's no longer the case that you have to wait for these keys before you have an influence over that building. You have real tangible benefits from starting from the start. In terms of issues, I think I find it very funny that in a world where we can click on Google and find any information out there, we still have to go down to the cellar and pick out O&M manuals that are in the building. So I think that's a real issue that we've got to look at within BIM and FM and how we manage that information. I think another important point is maintaining existing CAFM systems. I don't think it's right or fair for us to ask everyone to invest in new CAFM systems that integrate with BIM. I think everyone has their own CAPM system. It's how they integrate with BIM and how that information comes across. So I think that's again something that we really have to look at. Managing existing estates, 95% of buildings are already built, so we need to look at that, how we put BIM information. See, these the transition we go through to go from a BIM model, or to go from where we are now to a BIM model, or do we just need to manage the information within them? A big thing I have harped on about today a bit is understanding client requirements. I think this is important for people who are creating the BIM models, but I also think it's important for the clients as well to understand what they need out of a BIM model, what the information is they need out of this BIM model. Because I think that we could end up with a swap. So we could go from death by paper, we've got at the moment with the O&M manuals, to death by spreadsheet. And if we just data drop everything out of a COBie data, so we just have spreadsheets like huge. And we don't actually drive in the client requirements into those codes. So I think we have to be really careful about how we manage that situation. Something that I'm going to do with my research project is look at doing a workshop, a multidisciplinary workshop, where we get FM, architects, clients all in the room, look at understanding the client requirements, but then look at how that maps across the RIBA planner works, where that information naturally comes out, and seeing whether we need data drops, seeing whether we can actually just pull the information out naturally through that. If you're interested in being part of that workshop, come and speak to me, tweet me, email me, and we'll go from there. But I think it's really important to understand that sort of the client requirements, I guess, in summary. Any questions or not?